Alright, welcome guys. Now we're going to go through the general aspect count and also the counts for each territory of the game. But I'm not gonna make another video after this one in terms of it, the aspects, at least for now. I was asked, I was thinking of doing class specifics, but because of the fact that I already went through all the aspects by talking through each of the sorted like defensive, offensive, mobility, and utility and resource. I read through them all. I mean, I could go through and talk about the aspects. I could go through it again once the game actually releases and go through the class specific ones after I beat the game with that class, and I could tell you my build and how I played and like what aspects I actually used and which ones I just kind of stayed away from. And I could get into that once the game releases. But for now, I'm just going to skip that unless somebody you guys comment like, hey, I want you to go through the necromancer ones, I want you to go through the druid ones, the barbarian, the rogue, the sorcerer, or the any class category. I want you to go through and reread them and to trying to link up. I was kind of doing it with specific ones, like the one involving the leap with the barbarian, like connecting those leaping aspects. Same thing with the druid and whatnot. I could do something like that if you guys want me to, but for now this is gonna be the last one. And then I plan to make a gem based video probably next week after the open beta. I'm just gonna go through and it's gonna be a quick short video, quick short work, because this took me like 4 days to do all this typing. So I think, can I click on this? Does this tell me? No, it doesn't tell me my word count. I don't feel like clicking on each tab. I can show you my graph view of all my backlinks to specific ones, like that. Boom, boom, boom. Like, they're all connected. This is the cool thing about Obsidian notes. Like it makes like connections and whatnot. But anyways, we'll get into this, the aspect counts. So starting off with the sorcerer, the total amount of sorcerer aspects is 20. And the total amount of sorcerer defensive aspects is 3. The amount of mobility aspects is 3, and offensive aspects is 9. And the total amount of resource aspects is 4, and the total amount of utility is 1. I after I went through and did all this, I obviously highlighted, but you can tell that offensive is the highest one in each of the classes in terms of which aspect had the most of the other aspects, and that's kind of just because there's 57 offensive aspects while there's only 20 for the other ones. And the sorcerer had the most mobility aspects out of all the classes. You can tell just because I bolded that. The rogue has 19 total aspects, 4 defensive, 0 in mobility, 12 in offense, and 2 resource and 1 utility. The rogue doesn't have a top aspect out of all the other classes in terms of they have the most. They have the least amount of aspects, and also only by 1 though. I didn't miss one, unless I miscounted the amount of rogue aspects, but I don't think I did. I mean, did I miscount? 4, 12, so that's 16, 18, no, that's 19. Yeah, I was not wrong. Moving on to the Barbarian, has 20 total aspects, 5 defensive, 1 mobility, 8 offensive, 4 resource, and 2 utility. And the Barbarian has the most defensive aspects of all the classes. The Druid has 20 aspects total, 4 in defensive, 0 in mobility, 9 in offensive, 4 in resource, and 3 in utility. And the Druid has the highest amount of utility aspects out of all the classes. The Necromancer has 20 total aspects, 0 in defensive, 0 in mobility, 13 in offensive, and 6 in resource, and 1 in utility. The Necromancer had the most offensive aspects and the most resource-based aspects. Now, these are the aspects that that can go to any class. Choke on something. They have 15 total amount of aspects for any class. There's 4 defensive aspects, 2 mobility, 6 offensive, 1 resource, and 2 utility. So technically there's 15 aspects that can get added to each class, essentially. So like each class has 35 and 34 respectively available aspects to be used. Now we're gonna go further into the locations now. So Skosglin has 25 total aspects in that territory. 17 are from dungeons and 8 are from the campaign. There's 3 defensive aspects in Skosglin, 1 mobility aspect, 15 offensive aspects in Skosglin, 3 resource aspects, and 2 utility aspects. Now, Hawazar has 23 total aspects in it, 12 from dungeons and 11 from the campaign. 7 defensive, 0 mobility, 12 offensive, 2 resource, and 2 utility. The Dry Steps has 20 total amount of aspects, 15 are from dungeons, 5 are from the campaign. 3 they have the Dry Steps has 3 defensive aspects, 1 mobility aspect, 11 offensive aspects, 4 resource aspects, and 0 utility aspects. In the Fractured Peaks, there is 23. This is Act 1. This is the area we have had access to in the beta. So there is 23 total aspects in Fractured Peaks. There's 18 from dungeons and 5 from the campaign. So there's 18 dungeons to do. And that's not counting the cellars, which doesn't really give you anything. There is 2 defensive aspects in Fractured Peaks, 1 mobility, 9 offensive, 8 resource, and 3 utility. And then Kehejistan has 23 total aspects in that territory. 14 are from dungeons and 9 are from the campaign. There's 5 defensive aspects in Kehejistan. There's 1 in 1 mobility, 10 offensive, 4 resource, and 3 utility. In terms of the most, Skosglin has the highest amount of aspects in that area. Skosglin also has the most offensive aspects, while there's Hawazar has the most in defensive aspects. Who has the most mobility aspects is Fractured Peaks. Oh no, is it not Fractured Peaks? Oh no, there's a tie between like 4 of them. Never mind. The most resource one is in Fractured Peaks as well. There's 8 resource aspects there, compared to the rest that has like 4 to 2. And the one with the most utility aspects is both Fractured Peak and Kehejistan. Now we'll go further into Skosklin and whatnot. So the amount of aspects for the sorcerer in Skosklin is 4, and 4 of them are from dungeons. Then for barbarians, there's 4 aspects in Skosklin for them. Total of from dungeons is 3 and 1 from the campaign. The druids has again 4 aspects in Skosklin, 3 from dungeons and 1 from campaign. The rogue has 5 with 3 from dungeons, 2 from the campaign. The necromancers have 4, 2 and 2, and all classes have an additional 4 with 2 and 2 from dungeons and campaign. And then obviously we already went through the defensive, the mobility, offensive, and resource. A majority of them come from dungeons, while like a few of them come from the campaign. And then for Hauser, sorcerer has 4, 1 from the dungeon, and 3 from campaign. Barbarians have 5, and that is 1 from the dungeon and 4 from the campaign. And druids have 4, 2 and 2. The rogues have 4, 4 from the dungeon, 0 from campaign. The necromancer have 4 with 2 and 2 again. Then all classes have an additional 2, and they come from the dungeons. Obviously, a majority of aspects will be coming from the dungeons, in terms of so. And then oh shit, I clicked on the wrong thing. Alright, dry steps. Did I? Oh yeah, I did. Oops. Let me whoop. Boom. There we go. Back to reading. We'll click on that and we'll go to dry steps. There's 4 aspects for the sorcerer in dry steps, 3 from dungeons, 1 from campaign. Barbarians have 3, and they're all from the dungeons. Druids have 4, same thing, all from the dungeons. The rogues have 3, 2 and 1. Necromancers have 3, 2 and 1 again, and all the classes have an additional 3, and 1 of them from the dungeons, 2 from campaign. And again, a majority of the dungeons are going to be giving you your aspects, while campaign will only be giving you a few. And obviously this is for kind of a further breakdown of the aspects and where you might find them. In Kehejistan, sorcerers have 4, and they're all from the dungeons. Barbarians have 4 as well, with 3 and 1. Druids have 4 aspects as well, 2 and 2. Rogues have 3, with 1 from dungeons, 2 from the campaign. Necromancers have 4, with 3 from the dungeons and 1 from the campaign. And all classes have an additional 4 from Kehejistan, with 1 from a dungeon and 3 coming from the campaign. And again, a majority of the aspects will be coming from the dungeons, while a little bit will be trickled in from the campaign, which isn't bad. It means you're always going to be moving forward. And now on to the starting area and what to expect from the Act 1 area in terms of aspects. Sorcerers will be gaining 4 from Fractured Peaks with 2 and 2. Barbarians will have 4, and they're all coming from the dungeons. Same thing with the druids with 4, and all 4 of them come from the dungeons. The rogues have 4 and 2 and 2. Necromancers have 5 aspects in Fractured Peaks, with 4 from dungeons and 1 from the campaign. And all the classes will be getting an additional 2 aspects, and they'll be coming from the dungeons. Again, a majority of them will be coming from the dungeons, and that will be all. This is I'll see you guys if you want more of these aspect videos and more class specific, where I only focus on say the barbarian aspects, the druid aspects, or the necromancer, or the rogue, or the sorcerer, please let me know in the comments. I might end up doing them anyway, but like next week, just take a break. Because again, I spent the last 4 days making this list, figuring out how thumbnails. There don't be shit thumbnails. I can't promise they'll be good. There's just literally just gonna be that taking a photo, editing the photo to make it look a bit better, and then adding text from Paint to it. Because I don't have Photoshop and I'm not paying for it. And it took a long time to type all this out, going through all the photos, editing the photos, because when I screenshot, it screenshotted both my screens. So that was a pain. I had to cut out all, like, my second screen of every single photo, and that's 144 total aspects, so that's 144 screenshots I had to go through. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to check out all the rest of my other content. This is kind of the first of me going kind of in a deep dive in terms of any game. I'll probably do this more once Diablo 4 comes out. I might talk a bit more about the game when more information comes out about it. I'll be keeping an eye on it. This is probably going to be the only game I do this with. I'm trying to do this with Skyrim, but too big of a game to do something like this. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll post up my end screen so you guys can actually see all my links. I'm active on Twitter. I try to post there, post all my past, like all my videos there in terms of like the links, so you can see when a new video is posted. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like my content. I'll be doing this kind of content more going forward in terms of Diablo 4 at least, because that's going to be a game I'm going to be playing a lot of. Other than that, you'll mostly see clips and my past streams there. Be sure to check it out if you want to. I do have kids, so they do scream in the background at times, so feel free to skip ahead. Honestly, it's probably the best way to enjoy my content is to watch it on YouTube. That way you can skip past the parts when my kids are screaming or I get up to deal with them. Other than that, if you want to see me live, I go live on Twitch every single day at the moment because I got fired from my job. And I'll be there. I'll be streaming every single day for at least an hour or more. At least I try to. And then on Instagram, I try to post there when I stream. I typically fucking forget. So I'll try my best. Other than that, toodles. I'll see you guys in the next one.